Make sure you don't miss a thing. Go to starzology.com/newsletter and sign up. Welcome to the Starzology Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Alison Price, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Arwynne O'Neill.
Hello, Alison. It's great to be here.
Thanks so much for joining me once more. So this time we're going to be talking about financial planets.
Yeah.
Now, we have gone through your money planets previously, and that was a related topic because money's a big topic.
Yeah.
And there are many ways to look at money in a chart. So this time we're going to be looking at financial planets, and particularly the two main financial planets that remain the same for everybody. Whereas previously when we did your money planets, they were unique to you. Now these are just in general.
Right.
Financial planets that you can be looking at in a chart.
Absolutely. I think before we talked about the money planets because those are the ones that are in your financial houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This time we're going to be just talking about Venus and Pluto.
Yes.
Which is, obviously everyone has them.
Well, yes, everyone has them. And the reason we're using these two is because in general, the second house is your money house.
Right.
It's the first step you take, but there are more ways of looking at it. But in the natural wheel, that is Taurus's house, and therefore Venus rules. Venus, therefore, is the natural ruler of this second house, and therefore money.
Yeah.
And this is really money that comes in your bucket.
Yeah.
Talking about buckets here. And then Pluto is the planet that rules the 8th house, which is traditionally where your debts occur.
Right.
And you owe people stuff.
Yeah.
And that's your money going out, your expenditures going out.
Yeah.
Which is in the natural wheel is Scorpio, 8th house, and therefore Pluto rules that.
Right. And isn't it also money that you inherit or that you marry into?
Yes, other people's money.
Yeah,
basically.
OPP, other people's property.
Other people's property, other people's money.
Yeah.
That you get that in there too.
Yeah.
But what lives in your 8th house is your debt, your credit card debt,
taxes,
your taxes, money you borrowed from your brother last week, anything you owe to anybody, bills you have to pay.
Yeah.
That go on and on. But it's really the money going out of your bucket.
Yeah. I think last time we talked about this, I can't remember if I mentioned this before, this amazing book by David Graeber, that's Graeber, Debt, the First 5,000 Years. Fascinating book. And it's all about the history, not of money, but of debt. And it turns out that the history of money is the history of debt. And what we think of as like how the money system, sort of arose, we have this sort of myth in our heads about, people would like trade a chicken for a cow or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was really much more of a ledger system because, a chicken is not worth a cow, right?
Right.
It's not like you'd save up 50 chickens and then go and trade them for a cow. That's not how it worked.
Right.
It was more like you would have an ongoing relationship with the farmer and you would bring him X amount of grain every year and it would be a ledger system where you would owe each other things. And it didn't turn out to, we didn't need currency until wars arose, according to this history. And that's when the currency really became a thing because you'd have all these people from all these different nations kind of coming together and having to trade. I mean, you're mobilizing massive amounts of people who all need to be fed and housed and clothed for massive amounts of time.
Right.
And
like the Silk Road sort of thing, you mean?
Right. Absolutely.
Way back then.
So conquering nations and going to war is why we actually have the current commerce system that we do.
It's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
Because also now astrologically,
very Plutonian.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That you owe somebody. If you're going to give him a chicken every month, but he'll give you a cow now. You know what I mean? Yeah. But astrologically, we're in the age of Aquarius now, and prior to that was the age of Pisces. So that was from the birth of Christ to the year 2000, roughly.
Yeah.
Prior to that was the age of Aries, and that was BC 2020.
Yeah.
And that was when the Romans came up with the Iron Age. But prior to that, in the age of Taurus, that is when the first coins were made.
Right.
And I don't know if they were copper or silver back then, but there would have been something. And that's when you could get your 10 chickens and give this coin. And coinage came in during the age of Taurus.
Totally.
So
Yeah, I'm picturing those amazing, coins from the Roman Empire where they're not even really circular. They're just like roughly disc shaped with like kind of a hole in the middle so that you could string them together, I suppose. And
yeah. And this is it. But the actual, that was in the age of Aries when the Romans came. But prior to that, when people were using the bull as the god.
Yeah, when farming just had arisen as a massive business.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was those
Mesopotamia.
Yes, and the Minotaur bull and what?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that right. Yes.
Minotaur?
Yes. The bulls and even that came through.
Oh, the Minoans, Crete. The Minoans with the bull. Yeah, of course. I had a really great childhood book about that, actually.
Yes. Yeah. So back then they revered the bull, and then when the Romans came in, it was really the lamb, the ram, the lamb to the slaughter, and that was the deal. And then in the age of Pisces, it was the fish.
Yeah.
And now it's the internet. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to Wall Street, we still revere the bull. There's a massive bull that everyone has to touch when they go there.
And this is symbolic of Taurus and money in general, which is second house and the natural.
Totally, it's hilarious as an astrologer to watch people congregate around that bull. Oh, we must touch the golden bull. It's good luck.
Yeah, but
it'll bring us good fortune. Like,
even down here in the city, down outside the Park Hotel where the big casino is, there's a massive bull.
Yeah.
Like pouring the ground, or
really?
Is there a way? It's not rampant. I don't know how you say it, but anyway.
Yeah.
So the currency came up during the age of Taurus.
Yeah.
And just on a side note here, when Uranus moved into Taurus, that's when Bitcoin took over for those 7 years and became more mainstream, although it's still not mainstream.
An electrical disruption in the monetary system.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you've got all that going on. So all of these symbols are related to Taurus, second house, and ultimately Venus.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is why we're talking about Venus as the planet that rules money that's coming in or your income. And yes, you can get income elsewhere. But in general, you've got two columns when you're doing bookkeeping. You've got money in and money out.
Right.
And your incoming column is Venus.
Yeah.
So in your natal chart, you would want to have a close look at your Venus to see, well, what is it really saying about how money comes into my life? Mm-hmm. And we'll go into it in a moment. And then when we look at the opposite sign of Scorpio, where Pluto is, and we said it was your payback planet, where Pluto is actually the planet of what you owe and commitments you have made.
Yeah.
And maybe you owe a couple of chickens, but maybe you owe, as you say, the tax man or your Visa card.
Or the dowry for your daughter getting married back in the day because you want her to marry up into a nice family and to pay the groom's family.
Absolutely.
To take your daughter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I can't help but think of it in mythological terms as well. Pluto, of course, is the Roman version of Hades,
right? Greek
god. And the most famous myth of Hades is Persephone going down to the underworld, being, abducted by Hades because he saw her frolicking in the fields as a young lady and was smitten with her. And while she was in the underworld, she ate 6 pomegranate seeds. That's symbolic for fertility and whatnot. So who knows what they were trying to say when they said she ate 6 pomegranate seeds, but that is what she did. And as a result, when Demeter, her mother, came and said, you must give her back, he was like, well, no, can't give her back because she's eaten these pomegranate seeds, so now she's bound to me. So 6 months out of the year, she has to stay with Hades, she gets to be the queen of the underworld during that time, which I think is pretty great, obviously. And then for 6 months out of the year, during the spring and summer, she goes back and lives with Demeter, her mother, and that's when we have spring and summer.
Wow.
But it is about debt. It's because
you owe.
Yeah, you owe 6 months of the year. Yeah.
Well, this is it. And even mortgages today, the root word is mort, which is death.
Right.
When mortgages first came out, you paid until you died. There was no 20-year or 3-year.
Oh yeah, people weren't just leasing a thing and flipping the house and.
No, you paid until you died.
Yeah, and then your children had the property after that and after that.
And sometimes even mortgages today can feel like they're killing you. And that's because you take on so much debt and you have all these things you owe. Yeah. Mortgages being one thing, your car loan, your your credit card these
and
days.
then God forbid you buy into a certain market and then the value goes down and blah, blah, blah.
Yes. So that's why we're looking at Pluto with and in your natal chart it's complex, and what it's saying in your chart is likely to show how you approach or manage these situations.
Yeah.
And so the two are opposite sides. One is credit and the other is debt, basically. If we're going to just boil it down to my two buckets, you've got your bucket of money coming in and you've got your bucket of money going out.
Yeah.
And we're all wrangling with this.
Oh, for sure.
And it's a huge topic.
Yeah. Everyone, regardless of class or level in society.
Yeah. I get clients and they say, well, where is the money? And
yeah.
Well, let's look at your debt first, this sort of thing. So it's quite a topic, and it's I'm not saying I've mastered it. I don't know if you have, but
No.
There's a lot to it. But astrologically, we're going to be looking at these two planets. I'm calling these the two financial planets to differentiate them from your money planets, which is slightly different. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
The more important one, I believe, is Venus, where is your money coming from? How are you going to pay the rent? And how are you going to feed your kids? And that's your Venus and its representation. And then the money going out is what are you actually making commitments to and overcommitting to.
Yeah. I think Venus also shows what you like to spend money on, not so much
shopping.
Yeah. I mean, because it's the things you like to surround yourself with, the things, how you like to beautify your home or how you like to dress or how you like to beautify your person. It
shows your acquisitions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And whether those acquisitions, can you live within your means, or are you constantly going into debt to beautify yourself? And you have the expensive handbag but you can't afford it, and you go into debt for that. Like that's the thing. Yeah, it's a very Venusian thing.
How you manage to, with whatever you have, how are you managing it as well? So where is it going, and where are you choosing to let it go?
Right, for sure.
So, yeah. If we want to talk about these planets, as I say, we haven't spoken about complexes, but say, for instance, if we could just have a quick look at your chart, Arwynne. So you've got the Venus there in Libra.
Yes.
So we know straight away this is a good position for your Venus because it's in its own sign, although it's not Taurus.
I'm pretty happy with my Venus in Libra.
Yeah. And then, of course, we see that it actually is controlling Pluto, which is just so interesting anyway. And then in the 11th house, and there's other things going on there too.
Yeah.
But straight off, that Venus seems to be well positioned. And it's not necessarily the case that it's going to indicate that you are a millionaire, but it's
certainly not.
God forbid. But it is likely to indicate that in some way you are satisfied with your lot.
Yes. Yeah.
That you have enough chickens and or whatever it is.
That I've always managed to muddle through.
Yeah. And it's not a painful side for you because it's in Libra.
Yeah.
So
and that I've always been able to make the most of, even when I was, and I have been absolutely broke. I went to art school and I went through a very difficult financial time in the early 2000s, which we've talked about on this podcast, right around my Saturn return, which involved losing one's job and apartment, etc., which is like yikes. But I always managed to land on my feet and get my hooks into, the love of my life. So at least I wasn't going through it alone. And it's not the worst.
No, it's not.
No.
It really isn't.
No, but I mean, definitely haven't been just, what's the word? Like it's always been.
You're not obsessed.
No, I've always had to think about money, but I've never had to obsess on it. And I've certainly not been obsessed with acquiring more or becoming. Some people are very competitive with money, and I'm definitely not that.
No,
I just want enough to be
there's
happy.
A satisfaction there.
Yeah, I don't care to make more than whoever I'm.
And you're never saying things, well, how much did that cost? You never ever say such a thing.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. And honestly, I don't know how much things normally are supposed to cost, because I prefer actually to shop at like vintage stores or thrift stores, or to get something, get a deal on something. I don't like to just go and buy whatever is the most fashionable or the newest thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And, technology, same thing. I'm not the person on the cutting edge going out and buying the brand new thing. I didn't jump on the Bitcoin bandwagon right away.
No.
And I feel like the stock market is gambling. I mean, this is getting into a rant, but I mean, yeah, that's...
But in general, it's showing your attitude of, I want to say, calm.
Calm. Yes, calm and
a balanced approach.
Comfortable. Yes, but not, desperately comfortable. Like there's not like a Taurus thing where there's an acquisitiveness about the Taurus side of Venus, I think, which Libra doesn't have as much. Libra is a bit more balanced. For sure, about
I think so.
Its approach towards money.
I think so. Yeah. So it's.
Yeah, we did a whole thing about, Taurus millionaires, people or financial wizards. Kind of. Karl Marx was a Taurus. Like there are all these incredible financial minds who have shaped the way that people think about the economy, and they're all Taurus. It's crazy.
Well, this is it. They're big into acquisitions, and we've said that the most of the land on Earth is owned by Taurus.
Yeah, and I just, I can't be bothered.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
I would rather live just happily and comfortably, and that does not mean being obsessed with money for me.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's what I'm saying, because the Venus there is in Libra, so that is a super good position. You're getting +5 for dignity for that planet. So right away, there's a great thing there to talk about. And then additionally, on top of that, because it's conjoined Pluto.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know your financial situation. I don't need to know. But looking at this, I would assume that you've got it. You've got it sussed that you're really not going massively into debt because you wanted a brand new car or whatever it is, or a mortgage, because we'd all love to own our own homes, but here we are renting.
Yeah. I'm perfectly happy to rent because I know that, and we live in the same apartment building, as we've talked about. I love where we live. And I know that if I was to try to find something to buy in this market, it would not be as nice as where we are.
No.
Not even close.
No.
Not even anywhere near. So I would way rather just rent. And I don't have children. I don't have any, desire to pass down property.
Yeah.
No, I just want to live.
But it was huge to the desire to, the American dream. You buy a house, 3.5 bedrooms or whatever, 2 double garage, and you got a mortgage around your neck,
Yeah, I have no desire for that.
But again, so what we have here is you've got Pluto is in the 11th house. It's also in Libra, so it's a balanced Pluto. So clearly, one would assume that if you really, really needed something, you might go into credit card debt for it. But I doubt it because Venus is there.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're one of these hidden. Credit card things. You've got 13 cards and you've got, 10,000 on each one. Unlikely with this particular position.
Exactly.
And we say that for several reasons, that Venus is well placed. Venus, to my mind, is more dominant there than the Pluto.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be the case for everybody. And it's pretty calm.
Yeah. I learned very early on not to take on debt. In college, I learned this because the minute you sign up for college, especially in the United States, you begin to get all these credit card applications in the mail.
Well, the
minute they know that you are willing to go into debt for one thing, it's like, oh, hello.
Yes.
We are offering you the opportunity to be in debt to us forever.
And who is this? This is the devil saying, come. Let me. The first one's free, or however they hook you in.
Exactly.
Wouldn't
you like this thing? That thing. Yeah. Oh, just a little $10 a month or whatever. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So it's quite an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So really, what are we looking for with these planets? So with Venus, you're going to be looking for the direction is also it's important. So if it's direct, it's good. If Venus is retrograde, it's more challenging to maintain income as well. You want to check out Venus's essential dignity, and as we spoke here, for you it's in dignity, so that's well placed, and that will tell you a little bit about how Venus is activated in your chart, or expressing itself, I should say. Also, if you've got Venus in one of the 4 financial houses, 2nd, 8th, 5th and 11th, which you do, it's an 11, showing the entrepreneurial drive that is clearly paying dividends here.
Right.
Then we want to know, what about Venus's aspect to the other planets? So I see that there is let me see, what am I seeing? There's a square to Saturn. You're not it's going to limit you, isn't it? You don't splurge. I don't see you coming in the door with bags and bags of stuff.
No, exactly. And when you do, it's usually It's a bunch of stuff from a thrift store or Costco.
Yeah, so you're not about whole rent through buying whatever it is
Good
you
God,
need.
no.
Your new winter wardrobe.
Honestly, the funniest thing, I went to Holt Renfrew one time.
Yeah.
I tried on a jacket that I had been admiring online. It was, I will just tell you, it was a beautiful Rick Owens leather jacket that I had been admiring for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
I tried it on so I would know my size. And then I went on eBay and I just waited and searched, and I set up a couple of alerts, and finally someone was selling one from, I think it was Australia. And I got it for, like a quarter or a fifth of what it would have cost me to buy brand new. It took me a couple of years, I will be totally honest. But now I have my wonderful jacket that I wanted. And it's actually a better color because they only sold the black one at Holt Renfrew.
Okay.
And instead I have this lovely tan one, which matches my skin tone way better. And yeah, anyway, that's my little story about my Rick Owens jacket.
About your fashion purchases, basically.
I would never have spent, oh my God, thousands of dollars on a leather jacket that honestly, now that I have it, I know that it's only good for like a couple of months of the year.
Yep.
It's not a great summer jacket because it is pretty tight and it's leather. It's not a great winter jacket because it's not warm.
It's like a transitional piece.
Yeah, and it's not hooded, so you can't wear it when it's raining. But I do love it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
So that's Venus Square
Yeah,
Saturn.
Square Saturn, where you're waiting and giving the time to it to make sure that this is
haggling.
unbelievable that you've got that particular aspect too.
Yeah.
Next, we would talk about Venus's aspect to Pluto, which we have spoken about. You do have the conjunction, they're in cahoots. And of course, Venus is disposing Pluto anyway, so Venus is dominant there.
Yeah.
And of course, Venus's position in the chart. So really, that's if it's high or it's Kazemi or one of those things. And it's nothing. It doesn't really have position, but I would say it's a well-placed-ish Venus because it's in Libra.
Yeah.
It can function in all its glory.
Yeah.
So we would assume that this is a good thing for you.
I'm pretty happy with my Venus, yeah.
Excellent.
How about you?
Oh, how about me? Yes, well, I've got something entirely different. Let me just get my chart open so I know what I'm talking about. So I lucky old me, I've got Venus in Virgo, so this means that it's actually in its fall, so it's not well placed. Additionally, it is stationed, in my birth chart, it is stationed retrograde. So 1 hour after I was born, Venus turned retrograde, so it's at the station.
1 hour. Wow.
Yes, and it remained retrograde by progression until I was 42 years old, and only then did it go direct.
Wow.
So let me say quite clearly that my early years we lived frugally. We lived frugally, and money was, I wouldn't say it wasn't a topic of conversation, but there just wasn't any going around.
Yeah.
It was, you just managed, as a young girl growing up, we just managed. My family, we lived in a village, we just managed. So Venus is there in the third house, where Venus in the third, a lot of talking about money and what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
And a lot, as a young person, we got to afford that. That was the message. But as I became an adult, I changed that round. And, we can.
You're like,
if
I'll
we want
decide
it.
what we can afford.
Yes, exactly. And then past the age of 42, things eased up.
Yeah.
I'm better off now than I was when I was younger, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But we're still not millionaires, are we?
No, we are not.
No, we are not.
And we did not start out that way, and we had no expectation thereof.
Unlikely, yeah. So I've got that. And then considering the aspects I have, you see, Mars is conjoined my Venus. So this is a combination of putting Mars and Venus together. So if I have a man in my life, I do better.
Yeah.
Because clearly I don't have to pay all the bills. But
yeah, no kidding. I agree with that.
And
interesting, though, that you have Venus conjunct Mars and I have Venus conjunct Pluto.
I know.
Flip sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because it's in Virgo, I'll tell you, I count. I know to the dollar every night where I am.
Yeah. And we've talked about this. I consider it a luxury not to have to know. And you think that's hilarious about me. But I mean, honestly, the minute I have a job and I'm comfortable, I don't look at my bank balance. Yeah. I pay the bills, I do whatever. And I'm just happy not to have to think about it because there were so many years where I had to know down to the dollar or else it was going overdrive.
Yes.
And then I was having to pay $25 here and there for overdraft fees. Ugh.
But with
all
it
the
being in
time.
Virgo, the detail,
Yeah.
the devil is in the detail, and I'm on it. And I check my statements, and I know to the dollar where we are, where we're not.
Yeah.
And I always have. And years ago, when the children were very young, I had this envelope business. I don't know what they call it now. They call it stuffing or something on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, and you've got an envelope that says, vet's bill or food, and you put your money, you draw the cash from the bank, so you're physically aware of what you're spending, and you put it in the envelopes. So when the time comes to buy the food on Friday, that's the envelope you take to the store and not the other money.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Go Virgo detail.
Yeah,
So
right.
yes. And I think they call it cash stuffing now or something. One of our...
Of course, they have some influencer name for it.
Yes. So where people are saying how to manage on a frugal budget, this is what they're saying. You do this envelope business, and that's all your money's in the envelope. Whereas because when you're working with hard cash, you feel it more than tapping your credit card.
Oh,
and
for
this
sure.
is the theory.
For sure. I mean, it took me literally until this year to be comfortable doing the tappy thing. I had an old phone. I was like, no, I'm not going to do my banking on my phone. I'm just not. And I had to get a new phone at the beginning of this year. And I'm actually happy with it now. I'll have to
Once you get the hang of it,
like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, but back in the day,
Yeah.
it was cash, and then you used to write checks, for God's sake. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Now I only write checks for the rent.
Me too. I don't know why they don't jack that up downstairs. But anyway.
Yeah. Doesn't your hand go numb too after you've written
How do you write this check again?
Like on the 8th one, and my handwriting is just terrible. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if we look at my the Pluto I have is also in Virgo,
Yeah.
but this now is in the second house, so which is a bit of a contradiction because it's in the second house of so
Planet of Dead in the house of income.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's a case of I'm very aware of what I owe.
Yeah.
And I really try to bring it down in great detail because it's in Virgo, of course, in great detail.
Yeah.
And I pay attention to interest rates on credit cards. That would definitely make me make a decision. And when I used to own houses, I would always take a fixed mortgage, never variable.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't stand the variableness of it. I would rather take a higher fixed mortgage so I know exactly how much it's going to be, $2,000 a month for the next 10 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whereas in South Africa at the time when I was buying my first house, we started off at 6% and it went up to 16 that very first year.
Oh my God.
Because they had a massive inflation and people were losing their homes. But we were nailed in at seemingly a high mortgage rate because I wanted to know how much my expenses are going to be.
Of course. There's a thing that with BC Hydro, which is our electric company here in Vancouver, where you can either just pay the market rate, whatever, which is, I mean, our electric is pretty cheap because BC Hydro, it's on hydroelectric power. It's fantastically,
right.
It's very affordable actually compared to some, but there's a thing where you can just pay the flat rate and it's exactly the same every month, which is. Yeah, you can just choose to do that. Or it really doesn't vary that much. But I thought it was super interesting when I first moved here that, you can, I didn't trust it at first.
I didn't know that.
I didn't trust it. I was like, well, I'm sure that they're getting away with something. But no, I mean, I went through a phase where I was like, oh, this is actually great. Because if it does vary at all, like especially in the winter where you have the, the heat up more and you're staying in more and maybe using, watching TV more. These days, I mean, in this apartment, especially it's
the same every month. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting too. That it's there's no aspect between the two. I don't have an aspect between Pluto and Venus, but they're both in Virgo. So there's a detailed, and I used to work in an accounting business to balance books and check books to the cent. And looking back, I mean, there was no need to go to that kind of, but I don't have a problem doing so to keep a track of what's going on and what's happening there.
Yeah.
So it's how these Venus and Pluto are working on a chart. This is what you need to be looking at. But what is your actual knee-jerk reaction way of dealing with income and expenditure?
Yeah.
So it's the same really for what we're looking for with Pluto too. So you want to know, is it direct or retrograde? So mine is direct as well. Yours was too.
Yeah.
What is the essential dignity? I don't have it either because it's in Virgo and you had yours in Libra. And it is in a financial house. I do have it in the second. Yeah. So it's almost like very aware of it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And then Pluto's aspects to other planets. So I do have a trine to Saturn, and I think you've got the square, did we say?
Yes, Saturn square Pluto.
So again, it's that trine to Saturn is a very, I call it a mild aspect because it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
But there have been occasions where I've taken on too much debt and struggled with it, but not anymore, not these days. Absolutely not. No.
I think in my case, the square might have just made me super aware of the dangers of debt.
Yes.
The dangers of owing anyone.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
I know. It's a tough lesson to learn. Mm-hmm. And then again, we're going to say, what are the aspects, Pluto's aspects to other planets? That's the Saturn, and then there's no aspect to Venus, and what is its position in the chart? So it doesn't actually maintain position. It's second house, so it's not well placed or Kazemi or anything, although it is my evening planet. So it sets after the sun. So the evening planet used to be known as the Occidental planet, but we don't say that anymore. So now it's the evening planet, and this shows that after I've left the room, Pluto is my actual final impression.
Interesting.
I know. So you've got
Kind of cool.
Well, you know, hopefully it's don't mess with her, or or what? Hell, she was sexy, that one. Oh, you know, whatever.
Oh, what a powerhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the final impression there. So yeah. So that's very interesting there too. Okay, so let's just have a closer look now at if you do happen to have an aspect between Venus and Pluto. I do not, but Arwynne does. So first up, we're going to want to know, aspect-wise, is it applying or separating? So because you're in a conjunction and you've got Pluto at 3 and Venus is it's at 11, it's separating because Venus is moving away from the conjunction.
Right.
So this is in general, it's the main situation has passed. The conjunction occurred before you were born. It's almost as though the moment has gone. So in a way, it's less pressure than if it was applying to the conjunction.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's your applying and separating aspects. And you get it with all the aspects, conjunctions, squares. You need to check if Venus is applying or separating to Pluto.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see it on your aspectarian.
Yeah. It's just a little A or a little S.
Yeah. And of course, you have to take into consideration if either are retrograde as well, because that will affect it too.
Yeah.
And then also you want to consider a dissociate aspect. So this is where they are in an aspect, but they're not in the correct signs. So for instance, if you had Pluto in Virgo and then it was conjoined Venus in Libra, they are not in the same sign. So that is known as dissociate.
Oh, yeah. Out of sign aspects.
Out of sign, well,
for sure.
But you get it with squares and trines as well. So if they're not in the same element, because you want to have a trine should be an air trine. Yeah. But if they're not, then it's known as dissociate. What do you call it?
Out of sign. That's just
out of sign.
Yeah, I mean.
Dissociate.
Dissociate. Yeah, much bigger word. That would be better in Scrabble, for sure.
Well, yes. If you're doing an astrology exam, the word's dissociate. Yeah. Okay, so we have spoken about the conjunction. So if you've got the opposition, so say you've got Venus opposition.
Yeah.
So you've got these two are arguing with each other.
Yeah.
I want to buy more stuff. Well, should we take should we put it on the credit card?
Yeah.
Do I need that? What is that? The new barbecue? That's my big thing. Do you need a new barbecue this summer? But I'd like to have one.
Yeah.
And Pluto's saying, well, we can just put it on the bill.
Yeah.
Do we need it? Well, no, but I'd like to have one.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to entertain and
and look good with a nice shiny new barbecue and blah blah blah.
And Pluto is either like, oh, but you were already in debt. You already owe for the.
So what's the problem? Let's go deeper.
The blender, the food processor from last winter, the
juicer,
the bread maker that you thought you'd use and then didn't.
Bread maker.
Remember that?
Yeah, they were big.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a challenging position financially to have those two like that, because one of them will be stronger, and that's what you need to determine.
For sure. But if you have the square or the opposition, there will definitely be a disagreement about. You'll always be, oh, can I? Should I? Yes, but.
Yes.
No, but.
Exactly. Well, in general, your oppositions are external dilemmas where you're haggling with other people.
Yeah.
And your squares are internal dilemmas where you're wrangling with yourself. You're trying to, should I buy it? But I'd like to have it. But do I need it? And you've got this thing going down. But with the trines and sextiles, it's a much easier
Yes.
situation where, and hopefully one of the planets would be better placed than the other.
Yeah.
But it would work well. And you might say, well, if I borrowed $10,000 from the bank and then bought Bitcoin, if it went up, I could then sell it and then put the money back in the bank.
Wow.
How's that for a theory?
I mean, I'm thinking if that's the trine, maybe sometimes it's too easy.
And my brother-in-law's come along with a deal that if I invest in his startup and put 10,000 in now, in 5 years' time, blah blah blah, that's your trine, because
Wow.
it seems like a good idea.
Yes.
But you've got to be careful. You've got to be
Oh
careful.
my gosh, yes.
And then the sextile is really, it really is the aspect of your latent talents. You have the skill to manage money, and you should. You should manage it, and you should be aware of it and use it for good.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, totally.
Not for evil. No, you just
Exactly.
use it for good. Yeah, so that's just some of my thoughts on the aspects.
Yeah.
We don't have any other charts to wrangle with at the moment. So, yeah. Okay, so we've been talking about your financial planets, so Venus and Pluto. We also have some links below to our other financial episodes that we've spoken about in the past too, so you can dig a little deeper in there to fully understand your Venus complex, your Pluto complex, and how the two are working together to show what your financial life is like.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have found value in this episode, please do consider sharing it with anybody who'd be interested. Make sure that you're getting our newsletter, and you can sign up at starzology.com/newsletter. Additionally, make sure you're getting Arwynne's newsletter, and you can find her at...
I'm at mspink.net, mspink.net, and I publish my newsletter every Saturday. And I'm talking about goddesses and art and music and popular culture and personal stories.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for getting this far through the episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the two main options of my astrology services. So the first one is coaching. If you are an aspiring astrologer, and by that I mean someone who's perhaps a hobbyist astrologer, or someone who's learning astrology, or a student, or you've got a few books and you've been doing it for a while, but perhaps you need a little bit of help to bring it all together, then maybe getting some astrological coaching from me would be the answer for you. The astrology coaching I offer is a 1-hour session on Zoom, and it's tailored to answer your particular questions. For example, if you have issues with natal chart readings, we can go there. Or if you're having problems working with your forecasting, we can go there. Or even basic astrology stuff, or even getting yourself organized for your astrology business. The idea is that astrological coaching will answer your particular questions. It's tailored specifically to you and where you are in your astrological journey. And I'm happy to help you out with some guidance about how you can get going, what to focus on, and what to dismiss. So that would be the astrological coaching for people trying to learn astrology. The second astrological service I offer is consultations. So this is for someone who perhaps doesn't know anything about astrology, but they just want to have their chart read or get their chart done. Call it what you will. So once more, this is a 1-hour consultation over Zoom. I will interpret your chart, tell you about the main features, tell you about where the energy is flowing, and all the rest of what is entailed in a thorough natal chart interpretation. I can also add in some forecasting in there too, bearing in mind we only have 1 hour. So just in summary, I've got coaching for people who want to learn astrology, and I've got consultations for those who want to get an astrology reading done. I'm Alison Price from Starzology.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.